the challenge is also when you have people from the government who, let's just say they have intel. And I remember one time I was part of a group called Vistage. I don't know if you're familiar with Vistage. Vistage is like the biggest CEO networking group. They got 15,000 members, and there's a chair, and each Vistage group has like 8 people in a group from 8 different industries. Anyways, and I was part of one, and every month you're supposed to host it at your office. So one day I'm hosting it at my office at Warner Center Marriott. Keynote speaker was one of the former directors of CIA or deputy directors of CIA. We're talking 2012, 11, timeline like that. I'm not even creating content at it. I'm just a business guy. So he comes in, it's like, hey, you know, today's guest is such and such. We're like, so what happened with this? Well, I can tell you this, but I can't tell you all because it's classified. What about this? It's classified. How about this? It's classified. How about this? Hour was gone. I'm like, what was the purpose of this guy being? Everything. I didn't learn nothing. Right. So sometimes when you're dealing with the guys from who are working for the government, everything eventually hits the wall because they say, well, that's classified. Well, that's classified.
So great
well, that's
point.
Classified.
But you know, here's the problem. People don't realize there's laws out there, right? You classify something to protect sources and methods. It is illegal to classify information to cover up malfeasance or to save embarrassment to the United States government. It's illegal. It's in writing. And yet that's what happens. And most people don't even know.
Is it really?
It is. Absolutely. In fact.
What is it called? By the way, Rob, did you know that?
So no. type in this DoD directive.
Shit.
Type in DoD directive. And then type in classification. It's probably either classification system or classification guidelines. Classification guidelines. Yep. Now, pull up that DoD directive, the instruction on developing security. That might be it. What's the title of that? I have that terrible eyes. Security. There you go, guys. So if you scroll down a bit, you will see in there where it says you cannot classify information for the reasons of. So keep going, keep going, keep going. Let's see here. Procedures. Okay. Administrative change above. Keep going. Keep going. There we go. So let's see here. Consider related to determine the state of the other stuff. When to declassify classification decisions. There you go. So go to page 9. Sorry, guys, in the infinite wisdom.
I'm actually so interested in this. I can't even tell you.
Okay, so classifying decisions, either originally or derivatively, blah, blah, blah. Keep going, scrolling down. Okay, keep going down. These are the things that we classify. Keep going down. It's getting close. Whoa, a little bit too far. Let me see, determine the specifics. There is a paragraph in here that says, type in the search word embarrassment, and it'll probably pull up right to it, to one of the prohibitions. Well, my eyes are terrible.
What, it's not allowing you to search?
Yeah, not in the actual document because it's a PDF.
Oh, shoot. Okay, so if you do a word search.
Rob, send that link to me. If you can do me, what is the search called?
And there's also a DoD CIO directive as well that talks about you can't classify information specific. You know, I actually had a link on my phone. Doggone it.
Embarrassment. All right, let me see if I find it. Oh, there you go. I found it.
Excellent.
There it is. So in no case shall information be classified in order to conceal violations of law, inefficiency, or administrative error to prevent embarrassment to person, organization, or agency, to restrain competition, or to prevent or delay the release information that does not require protection in the interest of.
There you go.
So then let me ask you, though, how many times do they do it?
Okay. Welcome to my world. This is exactly my point, right? So
Rob,
American people have no idea this goes on all the time. This is why I'm doing what I'm doing. This is exactly the reason why, because people are making a unilateral decision to abuse that process simply for covering up something that they don't want the American people to know.
Rob, can you search exactly those words? That's it right there, right? Can you zoom in a little bit so the audience can see it? Zoom in. That's it right there. So section 1.6, limitations on classifications. Okay, so then this is what this does to me, Lou. It makes me think a lot of the stuff that the government, how many of these things that the government is hiding, like, for example, do you think the government isn't embarrassed on the fact that they know who assassinated John F. Kennedy? So if that's the case, Doesn't this qualify on that same guideline that because of the lack of the embarrassing job that was done to protect and them being involved, they're so embarrassed that they don't want to leak it? Doesn't that qualify under this?
Well, it depends. If that is the real reason, yes, it absolutely does qualify. Now, if there's a reason because maybe there was a foreign asset that we were using as a spy to collect certain information, we're trying to protect that source, that is protection of sources and methods.
Which one outweighs which one?
Well, you always have to protect sources and methods. National security always outweighs anything else.
So they can always use that card.
Yes, that's a problem, right? So you can always say something like, well, we're protecting sources and methods, right? So, for example, a lot of the videos people want to see, because there's some really good videos that the government has. The government says, well, we're not going to release those because we're trying to protect sources and methods because the way the camera was and where we were flying over.
That's the part where civilians, I'm a civilian now, since 1999, right? I'm not in the service. This is why civilians get so annoyed with these types of methods where eventually you're like, look, man, am I going to ever find out about what happened here? Well, no, we can't, expose our source that gave us this information. And because of that, da-da-da-da-da. And so where guys like Stephen Greer and all the other ones on the private free market that go and try to do it on their own, and they bring all these other whistleblowers and whatever they want to call it that they find, they do it independently because these guys are not telling us shit anyways. Every time they're going to be like, I can't tell you, I can't tell you, I can't tell you. Well, at least on this side, these guys are trying to recruit whistleblowers that are going to come out and say certain things.
Yeah, no doubt that there's like organizations like MUFON, they do a good job. There's organizations out there, private organizations.
MUFON?
Mutual UFO Network.
Independent.
They're civilian organizations.
Highly credible?
Well, some are. An organization is only as good as the people in it, right? Just like a government or anything else or a company. So you've got some people that are really good. They have some really good investigators, and they collect a lot of information from average private citizens, right? And that can be corroborated. And you can look at law enforcement data and say, actually, you know what? There were 3 reports of people calling in at 11 o'clock at night of a UFO, And so they do a really good job with that. And I do think you're absolutely right. There's always a need for the private community to be part of this conversation. There's also, I'll give you a perfect case in point right now. I'm working with some attorneys. Some of their names I can say. Some of them are still a little bit sensitive about it. But these are private citizens working to try to protect whistleblowers. So there's an organization right now. Danny Sheehan has one organization they're called the New Paradigm Institute. I have several attorneys with me. One is named they call him the Bull, Ivan Hanel. He's got a team of lawyers working with him, trying to figure out how do we protect people who want to come out of the shadows that may have been working these legacy programs and get them the protection they need so they can have the conversation with Congress, so they can have the conversation with the American people, maybe through, like we saw with David Grush, right? Maybe a public hearing or something like that.
He's your lawyer?
So Daniel Sheehan is, do you know his background? Let me give you.
Isn't he also Stephen Greer's lawyer?
He was Stephen Greer's lawyer. He is very much involved in this topic. He has a program called New Paradigm Institute where they are looking to create a grassroots effort. And there's another one called UAP Disclosure Fund, which I'm on the board, which I help give them some advice and assistance once in a while to help try to give people the protections they need to come out. Another one, like I said, is the that's an organization, very interesting, also bipartisan. So you have
independent, private, non-governmental.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
For the last 4 years, every time we do podcasts, I have to ask Rob or somebody, hey, can you pull up this news? Can you pull up that? Which way do these guys lean? Can you go back to the timeline of, eventually after asking so many questions, I said, why don't we design the website that we want aggregated? We don't write the articles. We feed all of it in using AI. So 8 months ago, I hired 15 machine learning engineers. They put together our news site called vtnews.ai. What this allows you to do when you go to it, if you go to that story right there that says Trump proposes overtime pay, click on it. It'll tell you how many sources are reporting on this from the left. If you go to the right, Rob, it says left sources, click on it. Those are all the left sources. If I want to go to right sources, Those are the stories. If I want to go to center, I go there. Now, if I want to go all the way to the top and I want to find out a lopsided story that only one side is reporting on, either the left or the right. So if you notice the first one, will say Zelensky announces release of 49 Ukrainians from Russia. Notice more people on the left are reporting on that than the right. If I go to the middle one, same thing. If I go to the right one, same thing. You can see what stories are lopsided. And if I pick one of the stories, pick the first story, click on a Trump one, proposes overtime tax cuts. To the right on the AI, I can ask any question I want, but click on the first question that has it. It says, what is the political context and potential motivation behind the Trump's new tax cut proposal? Click on the question mark. It explains exactly what the motives are. So for you to use, whether you're doing a podcast, you're in the middle of a podcast, or you just want to know it for yourself, you're busy like myself. And last but not least, this is all AI doing this, so machine learning engineers. Go all the way to the top. I can go to timelines, and see how far back a story goes. Pick the Israel-Palestinian conflict. If I want to go to that and go back and see why are those 2 days a big spike, I'll have Rob pull it over to go to those 2 days with a big spike, and I'll see exactly what happened on that day or the previous day, and many other features VTnews.ai has. So simply go to VTnews.ai. There's a freemium model, there's a premium, and then there's the insider. If you want to have unlimited access to the AI, click on the VTAI Insider. You can now become a member effectively today.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.